1070, 10.
You usually speak too close to the microphone.
Okay, I will amend that. It's an easy thing to fix. Yes. If I'm together, I remember to bring them. These are real bell metal, hand hammered. Yeah. I have one set here, one set in India, each of which was a gift. I don't travel with them because I figure security might think they were a weapon. 70. 1070, 10. So what's the proper distance? Here, here, here? Okay, you let me know if I should. That's good? All right. If I should adjust it, just let me know. All righty. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Yep. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Asatara Satya Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem Shri Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath, Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki jai, Vrindavan Dhama ki jai, Mathura Dhama ki jai, Navadvip Mayapur Dhama ki jai, Jagannath Puri Dhama ki jai, Gangamaya Jamuna Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Maharani ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesa Sunyavadi Paskachya Desatarane Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Panchakalpatubhyascha Kripasinduvyebhata Patitanam Pavana Evyo Vaishnaveva Namo Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's December 21st, 2025 in New Goloka, Hillsborough, North Carolina. A reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 70, Text 10. Govi pradevata vrida Gurun bhutani sarvashaha Namaskrityatma sambhutir Mangalani samasprashat. Please chant. Namaskrityatma sambhutir Mangalani samasprashat Go vipradevata vrida Gurun bhutani sarvashaha Namaskrityatma sambhutir Mangalani samasprashat Go vipradevata vrida Gurun bhutani sarvashaha Namaskrityatma sambhutir Mangalani samasprashat. Go to the cows, Vipra, Brahmanas, Devata, demigods, Vrida, elders, Gurun, and spiritual masters, Bhutani, to living beings, Sarvashaha, all, Namaskritya, offering obeisances, Atma, to his own, Sambhutihi, expanded manifestations, Mangalani, auspicious things such as a brown cow, Samasprashat, he touched. BBT translation. So this is about Lord Krishna's daily activities. What was his, right now we're looking at his sadhana, his spiritual practices. Translation. Lord Krishna would offer obeisances to the cows, brahmanas and demigods, his elders and spiritual masters, and all living beings, all of whom are expansions of his Supreme Personality. Then he would touch auspicious things. So there's no BBT purport. There is a commentary by Srila Sanatana Goswami. Devata here means forms of shalagrama. So Srila Sanatana Goswami doesn't agree with the BBT translation that it's the demigods. So Srila Sanatana Goswami says the Devata here means God himself, so shalagram. He offered obeisances to each one directly. Moreover, he addressed them with Gobyo Namaha, Viprebyo Namaha. That means my obeisances to the cows, my obeisances to the learned persons. Going on with the commentary, he did this in order to inspire others, to show respect for them, since they were his expansions, Sambhutihi. Or he touched directly with his hand auspicious items and these expansions. Commentary by Srila Jiva Goswami. The cows were brought there so he could offer respects. The brahmanas came there to give blessings. Gurun refers to Vasudev and others. He met them on the streets near their houses. He offered respects to all beings in his mind. He offered respects because they were his expansions. He did this in order that others would also respect them, Atma Sambhutihi, or he offered respects as part of his human pastimes. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, Atma Sambhuti here means his own opulences. And Mangalani, auspicious things, refers to such objects as a brown cow. So obviously the BBT translators were referring to Srila Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. Govipra Devata Vridha Gurun Bhutani Sarvashaha Namaskrit Yatma Sambhutir Mangalani Samasprishat. Lord Krishna would offer obeisances to the cows, brahmanas, and demigods, which again, Srila Sanatana Goswami says Devata he does not mean demigods, but it means shalagram. His elders and spiritual masters and all living beings, all of whom are expansions of his Supreme Personality. Then he would touch auspicious things. So everything that Krishna does is for enjoyment. He is full of ananda. Everything he's doing is for pleasure, and everything he's doing is full of rasa. Akila rasa mritamurti. He is the form of ananda, and he is the form of rasa, or pleasure. So he is getting a lot of enjoyment from doing these activities every day, from offering respects to various categories and to all living entities, and dealing with auspicious things. So he's having so much love and joy in dealing with this material world. When we talk about this material world, as Krishna does, anityam asukam and dukalayam ashasvatam, as miserable and temporary, he's referring to a state of consciousness where we are trying to become the enjoyers and the controllers ourselves and seeing the world as separately from him. That kind of consciousness actually is what we mean by material world, and it creates a state of misery, and where all of our enjoyment is temporary and miserable. But Krishna's here trying to set an example of how to deal with the world, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 3:10, so that we can both achieve liberation and live happily in the world. So he's trying to set an example, and he's showing how much genuine love and respect he has for the world, especially his devotees and what's dear to him. And we can learn this from Krishna. He's setting this example so we can learn how to live an auspicious life. So there's this recurring theme of Krishna setting an example, which of course he says in Bhagavad Gita 3:21, Yad yadatarati shrestas tat tat eva tarojana, sa yat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Whatever a great person does, common people follow. Whatever examples he sets, by his exemplary acts, all the world pursues. So that's true even when leaders are setting a bad example, correct? That we all tend to follow people who are in positions of leadership or influence, which is one of the reasons why Krishna himself wants the leaders of the world to be devotees. It's why Krishna has the battle of Kurukshetra, so that the Pandavas can be the rulers of the world rather than Duryodhana. So Duryodhana wasn't a bad king in all respects. He did some things right in the kingdom, but because he was inimical to the Lord, it was a very bad example for the people in general. He was intrinsically selfish. So it is part of our responsibility to not just withdraw from the world, but to act in the world to set an example. And it's one of the main things that Krishna tells Arjuna. He said, look, as a liberated soul, you have no reason to work in the world, nor do you have any reason to stop working in the world, but I need you to set an example for people in general. And if you just withdraw from the world and stop working, people will follow that example, and they will be irresponsible. So Srila Prabhupada didn't want us just to have our own insulated society where we just sit in our own temples and chant, but he wanted us to actually become the leaders of society. And imagine if the leaders in all of the varnas, if the leaders in the universities, in the schools for children, in the science research, if all those people were devotees of the Lord, if the leaders in government, imagine if all of the members of Congress, the judicial branch, the executive branch, if they were all devotees of the Lord. When Prabhupada said we should have God-conscious leaders, then one devotee said, does that mean they all have to be members of the Hare Krishna movement? Prabhupada said, no. He said, math is math in any university. But they should be not just superficially religious. We were just reading in Nectar Devotion that those who are just attached to rituals and superficial religion actually don't know anything about rasa. They don't know anything about actual religion, although superficially they may appear to be. And the head of all the businesses, suppose all the people working in agriculture and mining and lumber and all of these, and all of the banking, all of the investments, and all of these people were actually Vaishnavas, and all the people in the crafts and the skills and the trades and the entertainment and the sports. Like Peter Burwash was a famous tennis player, and when he came to Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada said, play tennis for Krishna. So imagine if all of the leaders in all of these different areas were devotees. Because right now people are following these various leaders, correct? Right? They're studying leaders in science, leaders in education, leaders in government, leaders in business, leaders in sports and entertainment, in the arts, as their models for how to behave. And because of this, the world is in a very precarious situation. So Krishna comes himself to set an example. He's coming over and over again. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bhavata bhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srajamyaham. He's coming over and over again, and one of his purposes is to show how it's done. How do you be an exemplary person? In Vrindavan, he's there as an exemplary Vaishya, and in Dwarka and Mathura, he's there as an exemplary Kshatriya, and as an exemplary Grahastha, and as an exemplary human being. That we already read how he would wake up in the morning when the roosters crowed, and he would engage in spiritual activities. And here again, he's showing, all right, what do we do first thing in the day? How do we start our day? So many people in America, they start their day, they kind of roll out of bed, they don't even bathe, they just, drink some intoxicant to try to get them moving in the morning, and then they just run off to work. And the work that they do is often not even beneficial for human society. So Krishna is showing this example. And he goes on saying in Bhagavad Gita 3:22-24, he says, O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. So it's hard to stress how important this is. Krishna is saying, he said, I don't have any prescribed duties. What does it mean, prescribed? To scribe means to write. Pre means previous. It's already written what you should do. He said, I don't have anything like that. There's no rules for me. And he said, and I don't need anything. And still, I am doing, he says, prescribed duties. Still, I am doing the duties of my station. Otherwise, the world is in ruination. So sometimes, like one place Srila Prabhupada says in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, that if one is fully in Krishna consciousness, he can do anything and everything. And Prabhupada gives the example of Parasuram and Vishvamrita Muni, that they could work in any capacity. But first of all, I think most of us would not say that we are fully Krishna conscious. Second of all, Parasuram is a Shaktivesh avatar, and Vishvamrita Muni, he changed from being a Kshatriya to a Brahmana, taking 60,000 years. But the general principle is, even if you're God, what to speak of if you're a pure devotee, you do the duties that are prescribed for you according to your nature. Otherwise, as Krishna says, all the world is put to ruination. So somehow or other, despite these verses, we've had some mood in our Krishna consciousness movement that as long as you're just a devotee of the Lord, that you can do anything and everything. Sometimes we even think that it's good to do anything and everything. We'll even put that as an ideal, where the person who just does whatever's needed at the moment, whether it's their prescribed duties or not, that's the ideal person. But Krishna is saying here, no. He says, even for me, he says, even for me, I don't have any prescribed duties. This was some of the criticisms of the demons, that Krishna, we don't know what Varna you belong to. We don't know what your duties are. You grew up like a cowherd boy, then you became a king. We don't know what's going on. But Krishna has no prescribed duties. It would be absurd to say that he does, and he doesn't need anything. So even for God, what to speak of for the devotees of God, that Krishna is telling Arjuna repeatedly in the Gita, act according to your nature, act according to your nature. So Krishna is setting this example. But everyone, regardless of their particular nature, has a prescribed duty of doing things that are auspicious and doing things that are respectful for all living entities. So we each have some individual duties according to our nature within the varnas, within the ashrams, which we should do even if we're very elevated. But then we also have general duties for everyone. And here Krishna is displaying right now in today's verse these general duties, right? He's offering obeisances, respects to cows, to learned people, to God, to older people, to those who've been his gurus, including his father, to all living entities. And he's engaging with things that are auspicious. So I thought we'd look a little bit of how much Krishna loves all living entities, because the thing that really struck me here was Krishna offering respect to all living entities. I mean, the others, it's sort of, we emphasize that a lot, right? Offering respects to the cows, offering respects to those who are scholars, who are brahmanas, who are giving us guidance, to our elders, to our teachers, to our guides. But then he also offers respect to everyone. So, of course, there's this famous verse that Prabhupada called the peace formula, Bhagavad Gita 5:29, Bhoktaram Yagatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatramam Shantim Richati. And the line here that I want to focus on is Suridam Sarvabhutanam. Su means very, or auspicious, or beautiful. Vrida means the heart. So we have varieties of friends. We have people that are kind of our acquaintances, that we're friendly with. You might say, oh, is that your friend? And you'd say, yes, but you don't know them very well, and you probably wouldn't drop everything you were doing to go help them. And then we have our kind of official friends. And then we have more and more and more intimate friends. So Surid are our very intimate friends. Surid are people that we'd drop everything in our life and we would go to help them for weeks if needed. Right? We see them almost like ourselves. Surid, they're very dear to our heart. And Krishna is saying, Sarva Bhutani, everybody is like that to me. Every living entity is very dear to Krishna, which is inconceivable considering how many living entities there are. Of course, although Krishna is very dear to all living entities are very dear to him, He's especially inclined towards those who are especially inclined to him, right? That's natural, that he's also reciprocative. Prabhupada says that Krishna is very reciprocative. So he's in the heart, Ishwara Sarvabhutanam, Hridaya Dunatistati. He's in everyone's heart. He's directing their activities according to their own desires out of love. He's witnessing all their activities out of love. I sometimes like to say when we hear God as the witness, we may get a little scared. Oh no, he knows everything I'm thinking and everything I'm doing. Oh my goodness, I can't hide from him. But Krishna's the witness in another sense. He's the witness because he really cares. And I haven't found any living being in this world who cares as much as Krishna. I haven't found anyone who's interested in what I do every minute of the day, except for Krishna. I mean, even my family members often don't know what part of the world I'm in, what to speak of what I'm doing at every moment. But Krishna cares. He cares what I'm doing at every moment. He cares what I'm thinking at every moment. He cares what I'm feeling at every moment. He cares about all of my desires. And he has this care for everyone. But he says very nice in 929, he says, I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend in him. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, one may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this world may be charitably disposed if he has a special interest in his own children. At Nat Prabhupada would often bring this up. We wouldn't criticize someone if there's a fire in a house and they save their own children first. Nobody would say, oh, you are so partial, saving your own children first. So it's very natural, Yayatamam prapadante tam sataiva bhajamyaham, that Krishna is just reciprocating. He loves everybody equally. He doesn't really have special love for anyone. Krishna loves the demons as much as he loves the devotees. But because the devotees are showing him love, he's also reciprocating in that way. And such a sweet verse that the Lord says to Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni was a great mystic, a partial expansion of Lord Shiva. And he offends the devotee, Ambarish Maharaj. I mean, it really offends him. Like, Ambarish just drinks some water before serving him any water. Because he wasn't there, because he was taking his bath, and Ambarish had to break his fast. Ambarish was not being disrespectful. Generally, you have a guest, you make sure that they're taken care of first. You don't just, you serve your guests food first, you give them a seat first before you take care of yourself. But he wasn't there. And Durvasa was so angry and so offended that he tries to kill Ambarish. Imagine trying to kill somebody because they drank some water before feeding you when you weren't even there. And then Durvasa goes everywhere trying to find shelter. He goes to all the demigods, they can't help him. And he's able, by his mystic power, to go directly to the Lord in Vaikuntha, which is also a very interesting point. So even someone who's an offender and not a devotee, by mystic power, may be able sometimes to see the Lord. Just a little side point. And the Lord says to him, I can't help you. He said, you've offended my devotee, you've got to rectify things with my devotee. And he says, Sadayo hridayam mayam, sadunam hridayam twaham, mam anyat te najananti, naham tebyo manag api. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I am always in the heart of the pure devotee. My devotees do not know anyone else but me, and I do not know anyone else but them. Our godbrother Shivaram Maharaj wrote a whole book on this verse. Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, since Durvasa Muni wanted to chastise Maharaj Ambarish, it should be understood that he wanted to give pain to the heart of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For the Lord says, Sadavo hridayam mayam, the pure devotee is always within the core of my heart. The Lord's feelings are like those of a father who feels pain when his child is in pain. But in one sense, again, everyone is a devotee. I mean, we shouldn't think, okay, well, I'm going to be nice to the devotees, and especially if we define devotees. Like this one one disciple wrote to Prabhupada, "Oh, so-and-so is a pure devotee." And Prabhupada says, "No, all my disciples are pure devotees." But one shouldn't be thinking like that. One shouldn't think, well, I'll show respect just to my guru, or I'll show respect just to the seniors, and I won't show respects to all the devotees. And ultimately, one should show respects to all living beings. Because Krishna is in the heart of all living beings, and he cares about all living beings. What to speak of showing respect to the devotees. I wanted to bring out a couple of also really sweet things about how much Krishna loves his devotees. This is from the Nectar Devotion, chapter 41, where Krishna once said to Balaram, "My dear brother, when my companions were being devoured by the Aghasura, hot tears poured down from my eyes, and as they were washing my cheeks, my dear elder brother, for at least one moment I completely lost myself." So how much Krishna is feeling love if he sees his devotees are in distress. And something from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.536, which is a little technical, but I thought it was interesting. This is from the commentary of Srila Jiva Goswami. And he's talking about the relationship of Krishna and the gopis. So generally in the relationship with Krishna, want to experience rasa, the devotees have Krishna as the object of their love. Right? That makes sense to everybody? Krishna is the object of their love, and other people who have similar affection to Krishna are the shelter of their love, and various things in relationship to Krishna stimulate their love. Krishna's flute, Krishna's peacock feather, Krishna's cows, etc. So he says here, the love of the women, which is the root cause of 8 types of mutual enjoyment, such as seeing or remembering, between the Lord and the doe-eyed women is called priyata rati. So that means the love of the dear one. This rati, or love, is defined in this way with the perception of the devotee as the experiencer, technically called ashraya, and Krishna as the object of experience, technically called vishaya. So generally, the devotee is the experiencer, and Krishna is the object. So the gopis are saying, I love Krishna. I am the lover of Krishna, who is my beloved. So Srila Jiva Goswami goes on, when Krishna is the experiencer and the devotee is the object,